Hey everyone, I am Nathaniel Rumpeljants, and this is Prime News. So our first story today, the lead story, is the release of Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. You can get it digitally and physically today for $59.99. And what I want to do here is show you the value proposition of what's being offered, because in the past I've been a little critical of the $60 price point, but it turns out maybe I was being slightly too harsh. Let's dive into all of the little and big changes in this version of the game in comparison to its original release way back on Wii U, and then also the Legends version on 3DS. So it does run at 1080p, 60 FPS, which it did not do at all in any version of the game when it's docked. It does have a local two-player multiplayer on one console. Now, to be fair, so did the Wii U version. You could actually split screen it up between the big screen and the Wii U gamepad. So that's not necessarily a new feature, but 3DS version didn't have that. Control schemes can be changed in the menu. You couldn't do this before. The background music can also be changed in the menu. A theater mode has been added to the menu. All 29 characters from the previous installments are playable. Level 255 is the new maximum level right from the very beginning of the game. 8-bit weapons return and can be toggled on and off in the menu. Getting an A rank removes the previous character restrictions. The ocarina and the owl statues from Legends are returning. The character switching feature from Legends returns too. Like in Legends, bosses will be weakened with more characters. Challenge mode from the Wii U returns with Ganon's Fury and Cuckoo's Fury. All of the adventure maps are available as soon as adventure mode is unlocked. The difficulty of each map increases from top to bottom, starting with easy. Legend mode contains Sia's Tale, Linka's Tale, and the Saga of the Great Sea. Saga of the Great Sea is unlocked after completing Sia's Tale and Linka's Tale. Link's classic tunic and Ganondorf's Wind Waker robes can be unlocked in adventure mode. Breath of the Wild outfits for Link and Zelda are unlocked after completing the Armies of Rune. All of the former Japanese exclusive and pre-ordered My Fairy clothes are included as well. Those were previously never available in the United States. All fairies in My Fairy mode are now displayed in 3D. Fairy companions are now visible on the battlefield. Once obtained, item cards can be bought in the shop. Total collectible weapons got increased from 10 to 20. Beamos can now be targeted, which wasn't possible in the other games. The Imprisoned's WPG can now be depleted faster. There's also some smaller changes, such as Twilly Midna, Young Link, Skull Kid, and Tingle are unlocked in the adventure map. Toon Link, Tetra, King Daphne's, and Medley are unlocked in the Great Sea map. Tetra and King Daphne's can alternatively be unlocked in Legend mode. Marin, Toon Link, Ravio, and Yuga are unlocked on their respective maps. The second seal of the Master Sword now requires 15,000 KOs instead of the original 25,000. Removing a skill from a weapon now costs 30,000 rupees instead of the original price of 300,000. Badges for item power-ups now require silver materials instead of gold. Some badges now require less materials, like 1 silver instead of 2 silver. The cost of several potions were reduced, including the Weak Point Smasher, which went from 25,000 to 5,000, Guard Breaker, which went from 40,000 to 20,000, and Verse Skill 1 went from 1,800 to 1,500. And to encapsulate why this all matters is not only are all these changes, and arguably is it the best version. I mean, it's called the definitive version. If you want to get most of this content today, sans the stuff that's been changed, you would have to spend, in addition to owning a 3DS and a Wii U, $90 right now today to get all of this. So the value proposition here is not only is it a definitive edition that combines it all and you can get it on Switch, it's actually cheaper still today to buy the definitive edition versus buying the older copies of the game and getting all this content. So reality is it technically is a cheaper deal. So value proposition wise, I can argue the $60 price point is justified. Now, this is a little bit ironic because in the past, especially on a particular podcast with Darren, we went back and forth on $60 not being justified, but I also wasn't aware of what the current pricing is, and I went to look it up coming into this video, and it turns out that for $60, you're actually getting a decent deal even compared to the reduced prices today of buying the 3DS and Wii U versions. Plus, it's all in one, plus all that 3D content, 3DS content was never in HD, so yeah, take this for what you will, plus 60 FPS. That might be enough. This just went from a game that I wasn't planning to buy to, you know what? Now that I have all this information laid out, I might be picking this up sometime this year. I did play a lot of Hyrule Warriors. Your save files cannot be transferred, although some people say it's because it's a completely different game. I think that's a little weak. I think you could have transferred the save file from Linkle's story and the save file for what. Anyways, that's fine. If you haven't played Hyrule Warriors and you're into the Musou series and you love Zelda and you love Fire Emblem Warriors, go ahead and pick this one up because it is arguably better than Fire Emblem Warriors story-wise, and obviously it's got all that Zelda goodness. So dive into it if you feel so inclined. Moving on, our second story actually deals with the demo for Mario Tennis Aces. So the demo itself comes out on May 24th and will actually have offline plays. So it has been advertised by Nintendo publicly on social media and all that as being an online tournament thing only, but in their PR release, it does mention you could play the demo offline against CPU characters. So you will get a chance to practice, essentially, before playing against real people. Now, what isn't clear is if the offline mode will be available when you can download the demo on the 24th, or if you can only play the offline mode during the available times and dates of playing the online tournament. So it's going to be one of those aspects where we just don't know and there's no information, and we're just going to have to wait a week, download it, and see if it's available or see if it's only available during the selected times. Now, what we do know is there's some interesting things about this demo because it's not your everyday demo. So for starters, it only starts out with 4 playable characters: Mario, Peach, Yoshi, and Bowser. Now, you heard me say starts out. That's right. You can actually unlock things in the demo. Think about that. So when you play your online multiplayer matches, winning online multiplayer matches can unlock 5 additional characters in the demo. Now, granted, this does not carry over to the game. We don't even know how many characters are available right away. Maybe the 5 it unlocks are actually the initial 9 characters you can even play with in Mario Tennis. So we don't know how big a deal this is, but it at least adds a sense of progression to playing the demo. And to me, suggests that maybe the offline mode might just be playable, up until the game's release after the multiplayer mode. Because if you unlock all these characters playing multiplayer, but then can't actually use them because you run out of time to play, then what's the point of unlocking them? But again, we don't have a lot of information for that. What we do know is that the tournament itself, the online multiplayer tournament, starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, or 9 p.m. Eastern on June 1st. And it will run up until 11:59 Pacific on June 3rd, which does technically mean 2 a.m. June 4th, 3 a.m. for Eastern, 2 a.m. was Central. You can also earn coins. Now, this is really cool about this. It was suggested, it's a little murky here, but it says in the PR that you can earn coins and unlock a Mario Classic outfit that should be transferable to the game. So if you play the demo and you unlock that costume, you get those coins, apparently you can carry that over into your retail version or your digital copy of it when you buy it later. So I'm interested to see how that works. My goal, obviously, is I want to win the tournament. Whatever's going on, or whatever, if it's a community tournament we could set up, or if it's a Nintendo tournament, I want to win it. But if I'm not going to win it, I at least want to unlock all 5 characters, and I obviously want to get the Mario costume and the coins, which I can carry over into the retail version. So I can't wait to play the demo. For those who don't know, I am super excited for Mario Tennis Aces. It looks great, and I feel like it's continuing a trend for Nintendo of sort of reinventing a lot of their franchises. I don't know if Odyssey is maybe the one that I don't know if they reinvented. More so, they just made a really damn good Mario game. But Breath of the Wild's doing it, potentially Pokemon, potentially Star Fox. We know about those rumors, but What's interesting here is that Mario Tennis hasn't really been, in my opinion, that good in a while. I'm not just talking Ultra Smash on Wii U. I'm talking just in general, not since the RPG days. And while I don't think this one's going to be an RPG, what we have seen over the past week between various story trailers, which the whole reason I haven't talked about the story trailers is because I can't read Japanese and I don't have any translations. So, like, yeah, there's story trailers out there, but I don't know what to think about them beyond the fact that it appears at least that Waluigi might be the bad guy, the enemy. But beyond that, which makes me very, very excited, what we have seen of this single-player mode in the game, this campaign mode, whatever they're going to call it, looks very, very enticing. We're also just noticing in general with the gameplay, they've added a lot of new interesting things to it to make the matches more enticing, even just on a match-by-match basis. This excites me to the point that this potentially could top the Mario Tennis RPGs of the past for me. But we'll have to wait and see. Whatever is going on, Nintendo and Camelot and all the people that are behind this are clearly trying to make one of the best, if not the best, Mario Tennis game ever made. I can't wait to see if they pull it off on June 22nd. Now, moving on to our next story, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze has outsold the Wii U version in totality in Japan in just 2 weeks. That's right. 2 weeks of sales on the Switch, outsold 46 weeks of sales on Wii U. Now, there's more than 46 weeks worth of sales for Wii U, but they stopped tracking the game because it fell so far down the sales chart that there just didn't have any discernible, trackable data that was worth keeping track of. So here's what we know about the sales numbers. In 46 weeks, the Wii U version sold 118,774 copies on Wii U, whereas on Switch in just 2 weeks, it has already sold 122,719 units. It did hold on to the number one spot this week in its second week in Japan, selling roughly 25,000 units, which is about 7,000 ahead of the number two spot. So congratulations to, I guess Retro Studios and Nintendo and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze for already at this point likely outselling the Wii U version, not just in Japan. I wouldn't be surprised when the sales numbers come out from the NPD report if it also outsold the sales in the United States. Remember, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze was kind of teeter-tottering on Wii U between whether or not it sold 1 million units or not. Well, here I don't think we're going to have any doubt. I think it's clearly going to sell over 1, might hit 2, might hit 3 or 4. We don't know where the buck's going to stop for it. Tropical Freeze deserves all of the love it does get. It is a very good game, and I am so excited that, yes, it took a port and it took the Switch, but finally many of you guys out there are giving it a shot, giving it a chance, and I hope you are enjoying it, whether or not you're playing it in its original intended way to play it or funky mode. I'm not going to judge you for it. You do you, and have fun. Moving on to some other news, we have a slew of other stories I want to kind of get through quick. One of them is a little bit of a sad story, but it might not be as sad as you think because NBA Playgrounds 2, which was announced for Switch, we didn't even talk about that because we've been missing some time here, is coming back to Switch and other platforms, but it has been delayed. It was supposed to release later this month. It has been delayed, from what we can tell, indefinitely. However, the delay isn't just because it's in development hell. They have stated publicly that they are trying to reinvigorate or reinvent the wheel with arcade gameplay, and what they are doing is basically so ambitious they need more time to do it. They have not given us a future launch date. They just said we had to delay it. So for all we know, maybe it's coming end of summer. I would expect it to come out before the start of the next regular season NBA. So, by end of summer, early fall. But we'll just have to wait and see. I will say this. I bought NBA Playgrounds hoping to feel a little bit of that NBA Jam vibe. And while I definitely got that from the art style and some of the dunks, I gotta say, the gameplay itself felt a little clunky. It just didn't feel quite right. I don't know if it was the controls or what it was. It wasn't giving me the NBA Jam feel in terms of the actual act of hitting buttons and playing, even though what you saw on screen looked the part. Just my opinion. So they might be actually looking at that and being like, look, we had a great foundation in NBA Playgrounds. Now in NBA Playgrounds 2, let's get to that next level and actually create the ultimate version of what this can be. I hope that's the case. I wish them luck. If there's a demo available, that would be fantastic so I can actually see if it's worth my money the second time around. Because if they have made the improvements to make the gameplay and the controls just feel that much better, That's the one that I'm going to sink dozens and dozens of hours into. Moving on, the finals of the Ninja Turtles Splatfest and Splatoon 2 happens tonight through tomorrow night. It is Raphael facing off against Donatello, or as they put it in the game, Raph versus Donnie. If you guys remember, Raphael beat Leonardo and Donnie beat Michelangelo in the 2 previous Splatfests. So the culminations tonight where we get to finally see who's the best Ninja Turtle of them all, based on if you can win Splatoon 2 matches or not. And obviously your vote. There's a popularity vote, and then there's the who does better in the solo and the multiplayer matches. So great stuff there. I can't wait to see. I'll probably be participating in myself at some point tomorrow. Don't plan to stream it tonight, but tomorrow I probably will do some sort of Splatfest stream for it. Moving beyond all of that, by the way, before I move on, for those that are curious, I'm Team Donnie all the way. Go Donatello. Get it done. Moving on, Owlboy. This is some really positive news. So indie game Owlboy recently came out on the platform, and I'm going to be showing you some gameplay here so you have an idea of what this game is. And the developer, the CEO actually of the development studio, D-Pad Studios, has said not only has Owlboy turned a profit in less than 24 hours on the market, and it's a multi-platform game, so it's on several platforms, it has turned a profit overall on Switch alone. So if they eliminate all other versions of the game they released on other platforms, the Switch version alone has made it a profitable venture. After 24 hours, 1 day on the market, Owlboy is a success, and they said it's such a success at this point that it has already made enough profits to fund future projects. So this is what I'm talking about when that Switch is like this haven for indie titles. I think it can even hit this way for AAA titles if the effort's put in, because there's just such a desire to play games anywhere all the time, from TV to the plane to the bus to breaks at work and stuff like that. There's such a desire to play these games everywhere. Switch provides such a convenience that I am stoked to continue to see this stuff do well. And based on reviews I've read, Owlboy is a very, very good game. So I'm just really happy for the developers. Another success story from the indie scene on Switch, where literally Switch is profitable enough that it can carry losses for any other version of the title. So I can't be happy for D-Pad Studios, and I can't wait to see what your next project is. I might even pick up Owlboy myself. If you know what, I'm gonna buy Owlboy. Let's just put it that way. All right. So moving on beyond that, Minecraft is actually going to be one of the first, or I think it is the first third-party game announced as being behind Nintendo Switch's paid online. Now, there was a news update for Minecraft, and it was basically talking about all the new things coming, the different versions, etc., for the Better Together update and the cross-platform play, all that stuff. And tucked away in there, very sneakily by Nintendo, was a mention that when Nintendo Switch's paid online comes out, it will be required to have that to play online. So there you go. They are putting Minecraft, a third-party Microsoft-owned game, behind the paywall. No, you don't need to pay for Xbox Live as well to play online on Switch or with other people who are playing through Xbox Live. You can actually just use a free Xbox Live account when you log into the game. But still, it's out there. And it's going to be the first third-party game announced anyways behind the online paywall. Now, moving on, because people might think it's a little sad news, I do want to mention there's a small E3 update, and it's a dinky one, but it's one that is very interesting. So a few days back, the Nintendo's E3 official website updated with mentions of the Smash tournament and all this stuff, or mentions of the Treehouse, and what it said is the Treehouse live stream will be taking place after the Nintendo Direct 2018 at E3. So people took that as the video presentation is going to be called the Nintendo Direct, because Nintendo Direct was originally what these digital presentations were called when they started out, before they switched over to digital event over the last few years. Well, it turns out that might have been a mistake, because as of today, the E3 website has been updated, and the mention of Nintendo Direct 2018 at E3 has been removed and instead replaced with a more generic video presentation. So whatever it's called, which still might be a digital event, we don't know. Maybe they're just going to call it a video presentation. I feel like that would be doing it a disservice. I hope they come up with a cool name for it. Whether it's Nintendo Direct at E3 or digital event or Fan Fest or whatever they want to call it. Something unique and fun, because I feel like that helps drive hype, and they're probably waiting to announce exactly what it's going to be called so it can be like its own little news cycle when that happens. But yeah, there you go. There's a little tidbit of news about Nintendo at E3. That's not a rumor. Like, this is just stuff that's getting messed around on Nintendo's E3 website. The last thing I actually want to mention is that Ubisoft has reported that the Switch made up 7% of their yearly revenue over the past 12 months. And this is actually in fourth place behind PC with 18%. I think Xbox One had 23 or 24%, and somewhere in there, the PlayStation 4 is up in the 40%, obviously making up a majority of the revenue that they've taken in. And I do want to note that while that might sound small in comparison, not only has Switch not been out as long, it hasn't really gotten a ton of Ubisoft games. There's really 3 titles I can think of that make up that 7%. You have Just Dance, 2017 and 2018. You have Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. We all know about that. And then Rayman Legends Definitive Editions. And if I had to guess, I'm going to project that Just Dance on Switch and Rayman Legends Definitive Edition make up like 1%, and then the other 6% of those sales are from Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, because we know they have stated that that game has sold extremely well. No final sales data. Wouldn't be surprised if it's over 1 million units. I do think that if Ubisoft wants to see that grow, they need to start bringing their bigger titles over. We do know that Starlink Battle for Atlas is coming, but wouldn't it be great if games like The Division 2 or the next Assassin's Creed or all these other games start coming to the platform? That's only going to make it grow. I actually see a path here that if Ubisoft goes all in on Switch, it could surpass the PC market for their profit margins and maybe even approach Xbox One, because I feel like there's going to be more people owning a Switch than Xbox One very soon. So I hope that Ubisoft jumps on that bandwagon and gives us full support of the games that are possible to support the platform. And based on what Bethesda is doing, I see no reason that most of Ubisoft's library can't be on there as well. That's it, folks. That's the end of today's Prime News. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And before I sign out, I do want to issue a small apology, or at least an explanation for why we've essentially been gone for 3 whole days. I had some family stuff happening earlier this week that I don't really want to get into. It's kind of personal. And then I had some computer trouble and camera issues. And then yesterday, even more computer trouble and camera issues, because I got this brand new laptop, which you guys can't see, it's off camera, for E3, which is great. It can edit. It's amazing. This episode of Prime News was actually edited on that laptop. But the problem is it forces you to do Windows Update when you first get it. You can't bypass it. And the Windows Update took 12 hours on a brand new laptop, and I stupidly started Windows Update on my PC yesterday morning thinking I'm going to be gone all morning. It should be done when I get back around lunchtime, and it was still going on for 8.5 hours on my desktop, which left me no time to create content beyond our podcast, which you guys will catch next week Monday. Or if you're a $5 backer on patreon.com/Nintendo Prime, you'll catch it on Sunday. Anyways, folks, thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next one.